Tell me what your life was like before you died.
I was working in corporate America, and I had recently got a promotion. I call it to the cubicle of death. And I had worked so hard to get to the great cubicle of death, but it was sucking my soul. And what started to happen is some little symptoms that I had all my life, digestive issues and such, started to become really big, and to the point where I couldn't help but do something. And in fact, I remember one of my first days after I got this promotion, I heard two of the girls whispering, "Oh, do you think Alyssa's anorexic? Is she bulimic?" And they're talking about me because I was so thin, because I wasn't digesting anything. My digestion was so horrible. I didn't know I was gluten intolerant. I didn't know I had all these eating things that I couldn't be eating. I didn't know that smoking cigarettes was bad for you, other than like it's bad for your lungs, but I had no idea it had any other impact on the body. So I started to get sicker and sicker, to the point to where I had to visit some doctors. And that journey of handing over my health to somebody else who I thought knew a whole bunch more about my body than I did. And I started on the drug train of like, well, this medicine is going to fix this ailment, and this medicine is going to fix that ailment. And before I knew it, I had a multiple laundry list of autoimmune disease diagnoses: MS, autoimmune arthritis, Lyme disease, the list for chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, the list went on and on and on and on, and irritable bowel syndrome. Like, it was just so much. So we started medicating it, and I ended up working with a doctor who was like, "We gotta kill what's inside of you." And so I ended up on an IV protocol, which was, I had a PICC line installed, and for 3 years I was infusing medication every day, basically 3-hour blocks a day. But somewhere in there, I had to leave corporate America. I got so sick. I gained so much weight from the drug cocktail, right? I went from 95 pounds of me to 190 pounds of me in a pretty fast time frame, because they put me on steroids as part of this protocol. And I tell you what, nothing makes you crave 4 pints of Ben & Jerry's like steroids. And what I didn't realize at the time is I just was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I thought, oh, I'm just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I always thought I'm probably not going to make it till 30. I always had that thought ever since I was young. And so I just thought, well, this is it. I'm dying, and that's the way of it. I didn't actually realize it was the medicine that was actually killing me. It was the medicine that was, really damaging my body. So the day that I actually died, I had been infusing all day, and they had given me some extra drug cocktails because I had a reaction to one of the main medications that they were infusing. So I had extra drugs in my system. And then when I came home, I was on end-of-life pain management. So think fentanyl suckers that they give to cancer patients, right? The ones that basically have a label, like I had labels all over my house that said, if you're a caregiver, don't touch these because it can kill you just touching it. So these are things that they only give to people that are going to die anyways, because you might die while taking it. So I had an extra sucker that day, and I ended up just being too much for me. And then that night when I went to sleep, I don't remember doing this, but I got up and I was having struggles, and I went to the bathroom. And my husband, I was married at the time, I'm no longer married, but he found me on the toilet dead. He had thought I had had a massive stroke though, because my face was sagging, my lips were blue, and my nails were blue. So meanwhile, that's back on Earth, up in the cosmos, I was bouncing around in God consciousness. I was getting to explore galaxies and universes and understand how this whole thing is made and formed. I understood quantum physics. I understood sacred geometry and mathematics that I have no way of knowing now, right? And I got to witness and see all that, plus be bathed in such deep bliss and love. And I always say, it's the most physical thing I've ever done without a body. And I think that's because I died of a massive drug overdose, right? So there was a level of consciousness that I think if I was awake, I would have seen the body. I didn't see that. I got up to the place that's God consciousness, what I call God consciousness, or maybe some people might call it monad consciousness. And literally, the best way I can describe this is a TV screen. Have you ever seen one of those security cameras that are monitoring like thousands of things at once? It was like that, only not like that. I could pinpoint my consciousness in over 1 billion different places all at once. And I could, if I saw something that interested me, I could pull my consciousness in multiple places all at once. And what was cool is I could actually go into that, and it felt like an elastic bringing my consciousness in. It was motion, it was movement, it was consciousness in form, but without physicality. No, I didn't see any friends or relatives, and it makes sense because I don't have any friends or relatives that have passed on. I'm 30, so I don't have anybody that I would come to greet me and be like, oh, it's you. And so one of my theories about near-death experiences is the consciousness you hold when you die about the death is the first thing you experience. And so for me, I didn't see people. I felt enveloped. What I felt like is I was actually soaked into God consciousness or monad consciousness at the level that I could be at that moment. And I was bouncing around the universe and learning and seeing and feeling. So some of it's really hard to describe because it was other galaxies, it was other planets that we don't actually have words. Some of it was like I would see sacred geometry, and I would see how it was formed mathematically and how the consciousness would come down from light and then form the sacred geometry and then form. So I saw all of that. I was exploring, near and far universes, and then sometimes I would see this person who caught my eye and want to go down into their experience or see an animal. And the weird part is I could do it all at once. So I remember seeing this one place that I wanted to check out, and it was Earth. So I was really attracted to it. So I go down, I'm checking out Earth. All of a sudden, instead of being in God consciousness, I am in Earth. I'm here, I'm back in Earth. And I realize I'm here, me, Alysa, this Alysa. Because up there, I was not Alysa, by the way. I was consciousness. I was not the me-ish person that I am now. Now I'm back on Earth. I'm Alysa. I look down, though, and I realize, I don't have a body here, but I'm here in consciousness. And then I look around me, and I see everything looks very much the same, except the sky is olive green. And kind of like this olive drab green. And I thought, well, I'll go and check on my ex-boyfriend from when I was 14. So instantly I pop to his house. By the way, I hadn't been in touch with him for years, but I popped to this house where I had never known of him but I saw him clearly in his condominium, and I saw exactly what it looked like, and I was kind of hanging around him. He smoked and he drank, and it felt very comforting to me. And so that's what I did. I just kind of popped around from person to person that I knew that had drug and alcohol addiction. And I didn't ever really know what this was until years later. I read a book by Savannah Arienta, and I'm reading this book, and this woman is describing my exact experience. And because I always wondered about this experience, and what she said was, this is a place where people go from traumatic deaths, suicides, and drug overdoses, and it's a healing place. And that's very much what it felt like for me. I felt like I was getting this deep healing, and I was moving around from person to person. And as I'm there, a group consciousness came to me, and they said, hey, this is going to be a very healing place for you, and you can stay here, but you cannot come back in the Alysa body. And if you choose to come back in the Alysa body, it's going to be the most extraordinary amount of hard work that you've ever faced, but it'll be worth it. And as soon as I was like, yeah, I'm going to come back, the moment that I had that thought, I got slammed back into my body. It was like someone dropping me off a 1,000-foot building and slamming me down into concrete. And I hit my body with a thud, and I'm gasping for air. And the EMTs, I'm in my bathroom now. I've got 20 EMTs in my bathroom. My husband's kneeling beside me, and they're asking me questions that I don't even know what they're saying. So back in the envelope in the hospital, now you gotta understand, they gave me Narcan. So here I am, a total prescription drug addict, and my legs are flailing, everything's going crazy. I used a walker to get around, and my husband's kind of looking at me like, good Lord, I didn't know you could move like that, In that moment, I realized what I'm doing, or what I have been doing, is killing me. What I'm doing is killing me, and it was my big, huge wake-up call. So I got it right there in an instant, and the pain differential between being up in God consciousness, bathed in oodles of love and bliss, and just feeling the yumminess of physical, it's a very physical feeling of bliss and love that I can't describe to. It's like taking off the tightest thing you've ever worn and just feeling expanded. And so coming back then to the super pain of the body was very hard, but I knew in that moment I had to make a change. And then really the next 5 years of my life, I set out to integrate the experience of dying, get myself off all the drugs, and work my way. It was my break apart moment where my vase shattered into a million pieces. And then the next 5 years I spent gluing the pieces back together. If you feel like your life's not been going well for you, if you feel like you can never catch a break, if you feel like you're mostly checked out and not living in what I call the magic and miracle zone, where most of your life feels like, wow, this is amazing. If you're not there, likely you're in victim mode. And the only way to get yourself out of victim mode is to take responsibility for everything. And when you do that, you also get to take responsibility for healing your life, and then everything can change. But when I'm still blaming my doctors for getting me as sick as I did, when I'm still putting the blame, anytime you're putting blame outside of you, you just are never going to transform the situation. You're going to still be in that situation, and you're going to keep attracting more situations to prove you right. The universe proves your beliefs right, whether you like it or not. Whatever you're currently believing, it's giving you again and again and again. So you can hopefully change those beliefs. We come down here to learn some lessons, but also those lessons inform consciousness above. So it's a two-way street. It's not just a one-way thing that's happening here. So it's informing consciousness, it's expanding consciousness. My feeling when I was on the other side was that, I'm hopeful I can articulate this well, that God consciousness, divine creator consciousness, prime creator, whatever you want to call it, it wants to be fully present in and through you. When you learn to become the divine creator of your life, which is what I teach people, how to become the divine creator of your life, how to use God consciousness in and through you every day, all the time, you can be in the middle of a horrific possibility situation where probably it's high probability that the stuff is gonna go down, and you can use your vibration and your consciousness to actually shift the outcome. So what I think, it's less about the human experience here and more about, can God consciousness come through you, and can it hold itself as God consciousness all the time without going unconscious? For me, it's being kind. At the end of the day, if I can show just about everybody I come across kindness and a little bit of walking around radiating that feeling of where people just go, oh wow, I feel different. That to me is living a good life. God is the computer. God is the earth we're sitting on. God is every single particle and cell and amoeba in the universe. God is to expand consciousness.